Sun, 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 here it comes. Sun, 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 here it comes.
This hot August day began in the early hours of Friday morning. The Beatles were in the smallest of Abbey Road studios, Studio 3, putting the finishing touches to The End, with Paul, George and John trading guitar solos for the first and final time together. Ringo was the first to arrive back at EMI at 10:15 a.m, followed by the three others around 45 minutes later. Paul arrived with Linda, suited but not booted, sauntering in wearing a pair of open-toed sandals and met by assistant Kevin Harrington, now well known for his appearance in the Get Back movie. All wore suits by Tommy Nutter, except a defiant George, who chose to rock a double denim look. A few days earlier, Paul had sketched out the concept for the front cover. It was left to John and Yoko's friend, photographer Ian McMillan, to execute Paul's vision. Earlier, McMillan had taken a test photograph to show the band how the photo might look. Kevin Harrington and some studio porters were used for this test photo. Note that the white Volkswagen Beetle, bearing the plate 28if, appears in all of these photos, the owner having gone away on holiday, leaving the car abandoned there. Before the photo session started, all four of the Beatles can be seen engaging together in good-humoured conversation, sitting on the steps leading up to the studio's entrance. Mal and Linda were on hand to snap a few pics. In one, we can see Linda's handbag, still carrying the initials of her maiden name, LLE, Linda Louise Eastman. In another, Ringo's chauffeur, Alan Herring, can be seen standing to the left. Linda pops up in a photo taken by Mal, before she takes this photo of Paul and Ringo together, followed by a photo of John, and then George. At 11:35 a.m, a compliant police officer stopped the traffic in Abbey Road, and Ian McMillan clambered up a stepladder with his trusted Hasselblad camera with a 50mm wide-angle lens. Linda takes a quick snap, catching Ringo picking his nose. John steps out first across the zebra crossing, closely followed in age order by Ringo, Paul and George. The first photo is noticeable as there is no black police van. After a quick pause to allow traffic to pass, they all line up again in the same order with Mal sitting behind them, as an older lady strikes up a conversation with Ringo. John then leads the band back over to the other side of the road, as captured in the second photo. This image first saw the light of day in 1987 when it was used for the cover of an HMV box set of the Abbey Road CD. Inside the box was also a poster with the same photo and a badge. As Paul returns, he takes off his sandals, placing them under the wall, on top of which stands Linda's handbag. This image was also used for a 1970 Japanese single of Oh Darling, backed with Here Comes the Sun. Paul carries on the remainder of the photo shoot barefooted. For the third shot, a London bus and taxi appear in the frame. And for the fourth shot and the second return journey, there's a guy in a white shirt with sleeves rolled up walking towards the camera. It was the fifth shot which produced the image, which ultimately ended up on the front cover of Abbey Road. It was selected since it was the most aesthetically pleasing, the only one having all four Beatles in step. To the right appears the police van. In the background on the left pavement stand three decorators who were working inside the studio on this day. This is the original UK 1969 cover, heavily saturated. The 1987 CD release had far duller colours, whereas the 2009 remastered CD version had a green hue. The original negatives disappeared after being sent to the blockmakers to be printed, which was fairly common practice at the time. The final reverse crossing, and the last of the 6 pictures taken, features more bystanders in the background. Whilst Ian McMillan moved down Abbey Road to capture the shot for the back cover, the Beatles split up. Mal recorded in his diary that he and George went off to nearby London Zoo to meditate in the sunshine, whilst the other 3 retired to Paul's house for lunch. They were all back inside EMI in the afternoon at 2:30, this time in Studio 2, to overdub drums and bass on the end. Then Ringo added drums and John added synthesizer to I Want You, She's So Heavy. In the meantime, Paul went into Studio 3 and overdubbed lead guitar and tambourine onto Oh Darling. Then John, Paul and George gathered around the same microphone and added harmony vocals. The session ended at 9 p.m. and the Beatles departed for the weekend. They would next return on Monday morning for their next session.
Come together right now over me.
Okay. Very excited, aren't I?
Right.